Hey there, YTPC, New Jersey Piper Ben here. Coming to you guys on a lovely day from my front porch. Having some Hearth and Home BlackHouse in my 7LE Sterling spigot, 122. Nice little pot. This is one of my first pipes. Probably one of my first like 3 or 4 pipes I ever bought. Found a really good sale on smoking pipes, and picked this one up, and it's been a favorite ever since for sure. The BlackHouse is good. I just had White Night yesterday, and talked about the whole Balkan Sobrani tie-ins with the Smokers Havens blends. This one actually won the 2011 Chicago Pipe Show, I guess, blend award, maybe for a, like best debut blend or whatever. I'm not sure exactly what the details are, but it won that show. And again, not designed to be a match for Balkan Sobrani 759, but inspired by. And this is one of those sort of kitchen sink blends. It's got Cavendish, Virginia, Turkish Orientals, Perique, Kentucky, which you don't see popping up too often in blends like this. But yeah, it's good. Definitely more of that dark fruit aspect than White Night had, for sure. I would say more of the plum fig thing going on, but that aspect is sort of the counterpoint to that, is that that Kentucky and that Cavendish kind of, insofar as those are tangy flavor components. The Kentucky and the Cavendish are sort of smooth, creamier sort of non-tangy flavor components, with a lot of Kia obviously as well, sort of doing its thing too. So it's definitely one of those blends where, like, I wish I had a lot more experience, watching someone like Dallas Full Dottle, dissect a blend and talk about the components. And yeah, it's fun to watch, but I'll get there one day. But again, for now, I can just tell you that I enjoy it. And it's got lots of stuff in it. Got my Rambling Dilettante special tamper. So, somebody commented on another video. It was like, hey, it's kind of cool that you can sit there all relaxed talking about tobacco when there's so much shit going on in your country. It's like, yeah, I know. It's that whole thing again that kind of popped up before, where, like, it feels like the world's burning down in a lot of ways, and we have sort of unprecedented loss of life, and that, coupled with everything that's sparking off right now in larger cities based on what went down in Minneapolis. They were kind of like, why aren't you out protesting somewhere, And I kind of explained my situation. I'm not going to get into that into much detail. Hello. But back then, Minneapolis was sort of the epicenter of what was going on, and I'm like, I live 2,000 kilometers from Minneapolis, and I have a full-time job, and my job allows me to care for my disabled wife. So I get it, but yeah. But just want to mention a couple things quickly around that. I'm not going to go into details, and I'm going to try to avoid saying things that would piss off half of the country. But I watched Gribley's Folly this morning, his Sunday antisocial. He was kind of talking about, his life and his upbringing and his current circumstances. And because of all that, how far removed he is from having to deal with the things that some people have to deal with on a daily basis. And obviously, the color of your skin plays a huge role in that. Whether you like it or not, it does. I mean, and when he was explaining his situation, I kept thinking about myself, because in a lot of ways, definitely, for sure, I wouldn't say I grew up upper middle class. I was definitely more lower middle class to regular middle class, I guess, whatever the hell that means. But just in a nutshell, my dad grew up in a house that didn't have indoor plumbing. My mom grew up dirt poor as well, but they were able to use the American dream to get themselves into what could be considered middle class, and thank God, to a position where they could actually retire and enjoy some of their old age, which a lot of people don't get to do. And that reality is getting less and less likely, not more and more likely, which is, to me, kind of a tipping point with how things are going. The gap between the top and the bottom is getting bigger and bigger and bigger. Yes, this is a debate that could go on for hours and hours, but again, just trying to get to the kernel, to the center of the situation, playing off of what Gribley was saying. I agree with him 100%. And basically, the gist of it is, how I'm going to react to the situation is not a reliable metric for how everybody should feel about it, or my reaction. Basically, my reaction, given my situation, is irrelevant. One of my favorite movies and books is To Kill a Mockingbird, and the take-home message of that book and movie is you have to be able to consider things from other points of view, or from another's point of view, basically until you get into somebody else's skin and walk around in it. You really can't truly understand what that person's going through or what they're dealing with on a daily basis. And it's a thing that is measured in aggregate. So just as an example, from the perspective of a black man, for instance, basically getting up, going about his daily life, there's always that aspect of sort of impending danger, I would say. That stress, that anxiety of nothing you did, but just the fact of what you look like gives you more risk in your day in and day out life. Just by the fact of what you look like. Again, like it or not, that is an absolute truth. It really is. And I just can't imagine living with that stress and anxiety on a daily basis, just knowing when I step out the door this morning, I may very well be killed because of what I look like. So that I cannot comprehend that. I can't internalize that. I can't process that in the brain that I have and the experiences that I had growing up, because I can't do those things. My reaction to what's going on right now is irrelevant, because it just kind of doesn't matter how I feel, because I would never presume to tell people how to feel that live with that day in and day out. And that it's boiling over right now is due to some very specific things that are going on. And I'm not justifying it. I'm not saying destruction of property is a productive thing. I'm just saying I get why it happened. That it happened is shitty as hell. It's an absolute shit show. Don't get me wrong, it is. But I understand why it happened. I can comprehend that. And again, Gribbly's post from this morning, and I commented and encouraged him, if he hadn't seen it, to actually check out Michael Render, aka Killer Mike, which is his performing name. He's a rapper, but he's also the son of an Atlanta police officer, and he's got Atlanta police officers in his family. Atlanta is his home base. It's where he does his thing, and tries to sort of build the community and uplift people. But he had a video that went viral on some local news station there, where he gave basically about a 7 or an 8 minute speech talking about what happened, and the pain in his voice and on his face is incredibly evident. He's he can internalize it. He can comprehend what's going on because of his unique situation. But his words were, I think, absolutely spot on. And I've watched it about 3 times now, and I encourage everybody to go check that out. I'll try to leave a link to it in the description for you, so you can get to it easily if you're so interested. If not, I totally understand. If you completely disagree with everything I'm saying, I totally understand. It's not I all the reactions I've seen, I definitely understand the reactions. Why are they doing this? This is not productive. They shouldn't be destroying property. Those are businesses people worked hard for, et cetera, et cetera. I totally understand those reactions. I also understand the other reactions. It's one of those weird situations where there's more to it than what just happened, 4 or 5 days ago or whatever it is. There's more to it than that. There's a history there. And it goes back a long time, and it's things that we've never really effectively dealt with in this country. And it's not just the one thing. It's hundreds of years, and it's sad. It's a sad time. And obviously my pipe is going out, but that's okay. Sorry. I know this is not something I do at all. I don't think I've done anything similar to this before. It's just how I feel. And, if it's a problem, sorry. If you want to unsubscribe, that's totally fine. So I was talking to Chris, the Rambling Dilettante, on his live stream last night. I couldn't possibly care less about my subscriber count. It's great that people subscribe to me and people enjoy my videos. I totally appreciate the hell out of that. But it's definitely a part of my life, but it's not the my primary reason for being, so to speak. I'm going to continue to do it as long as I enjoy it. But if circumstances dictate, it's something I could definitely, stop doing, and I think be perfectly fine with it. And, obviously I would still watch YTPC videos and support you guys as much as I had time to, but, as far as being a content creator, it's nothing I really thought I would ever do. Just in life in general, it's it's so antithetical to who I am. But yeah, here we are. Again, it's where I am, where I'm sitting, my freshly mowed lawn. Just a lovely breezy Sunday. It's nice and cool. I think it's about 68 or 69 right now. Just, this is nice. This is great. And I am absolutely lucky and privileged to be sitting here smoking a pipe full of premium pipe tobacco and talking into a phone that's going to cost me like $800 after I finish paying for it, at least. So yeah. You guys take care, and as always, be excellent to one another. And I mean that. Those aren't empty words. I definitely mean that. Be kind. Be as kind as you can possibly be in life. Because what other way is there to operate? You know, or at least be understanding, be empathetic. That's kind of the key. Being kind for me is easy. Being empathetic sometimes is not so easy. So if you can be empathetic, I think that'll help out a lot too. Take care.